Hello everyone and welcome along to this week's episode of the Supercup show here on SimNews.TV. Of course, the bi-weekly show where I take a look at the goings on of the GPVWC Supercup and tell you exactly what's just gone on in the previous round. So, Supercup, as you may know all by now, is the second rung of the GPVWC career ladder. It's above Formula Challenge, it's below Super League. Really is the proving ground for Super League. Lots of talent gets scouted up to the top flight series from here. And, of course, Formula Challenge best use this as a stepping stone to get there too. So, really, all sides of the world can be found representing themselves in the championship. And, of course, the racing is always great. I'm Josh Anderson, and unfortunately, no Sam Jones with me this week. But I will still be taking you through exactly what happened when Canada played host to the GPVWC Super Cup. Second on the grid would be Whoopke Hoekstra in the Meserick racing car, and right behind him his teammate Dino Paolini. So a 2-3 for Meserick in a season where they are really looking likely to win the team's championship and promote the Super League. Important for them they keep this run of results up. Geoffrey Fournier, of course, a fantastic run of form, going into Monaco, double win, coming out of it, 4th place on the grid to start Canada. Must have been looking to get even more wins coming into this, and I'm sure on his mind would have been continued success. Tobias Politek will qualify 5th for Revolution Motorsports, and Stefan Ruhl directly behind in the Deltec Racing Team car in 6th. Ruhl, of course, not having the best of seasons, but still solidifying himself as a potential top scorer in Super Cup, having just lost out in Formula Challenge last year to James Johnson. Boy Milan and Edgar Reith, the TG duo, would log out row 4, and it would be another lockout right behind them. 9 and 10 for the Zederick car, Jason Muscat leading Daiwa Etapa. All 10 of the top 10 within 0.539 seconds of each other. That is how close the qualifying is in Super Cup. We keep saying this is a close title race in the qualifying. Every 10th of a second counts, and it was proven here at Canada. A fantastic result for the Macedonian Erhan Jajovski as well, qualifying 11th in the satellite racing car. Has had a bit of a problem with terms of race pace since joining this series as Jajovski, and he knew after his disappointment at Monaco he would need to get himself into a good place here. Anatoly Hranic 12th, the Croatian for Drag Racing, then Edouard Patala for Racing Team Schoten was start 13th, and Sandeep Choda behind him 14th in the Hinds Motorsport car. And Choda again, since coming back and coming into R Factor 2, possibly been a slight disappointment, but he has had some good results. He got a 4th place at Monaco in race 1, remember. But aside from that, he hasn't really broken the top 10 much, so he knew he'd need to get a good result here if he was going to continue that run of form that he found at Monaco. Carlos Fernandez would start 15th in the Multiforce car, then it would be Tom van der Voort 16th for Drake, and Wesley Stefano in the second Hinds car. Rob Mason would start 18th in the second Epic. Again, Mason, with the pace he's shown, he's been very impressive in places this season. 9th place at Monaco proving that, but again, more of a consistent point scorer. Possibly a bit more like Choda in that regard. Matt Strand would be 19th in the satellite car, then James Johnson 20th in the Deltec in a season that has been very testing for the reigning Formula Challenge champion. Only 2-point scores coming into this round, and they were in the very first round. Since then, 4 DNFs and a really troubled season for Johnson, not really finding the pace. But then again, we saw with some of the Manuel Gagzala when he won the Formula Challenge title in 2013, struggled in Super Cup in 2014. Perhaps we could see Johnson, as he acclimatises to this series, gain more time. Dominic Foster would be in 21st place ahead of Mike Quint, 22nd in the Cosmos Psyche car, and rounding out the grid would be Mark Fuller in 23rd place for ST Racing. So again, an ST sandwich at the back, and Quint, the sole Cosmos Psyche car this time around. No second car for the team. Hopefully they will be able to rectify that for next round. So moving on to race 1 then, and well, it would be a great outing for Alex Siebel from pole to the win, taking the win in the, of course, feature race, the first of the 2 races, 41 laps, and Siebel would win it from Dino Paolini. So the Germans having a very good outing in Canada, Paolini moving up a place. Whoopke Hoekstra moving down, of course. Stefan Ruhl beat him to 3rd place, with Hoekstra finishing 4th. And Geoffrey Fournier having a very good first race, 5th place for the Epic driver. Definitely a good result for the Frenchman, keeping up his run of form after Monaco and defending the championship lead he came in with. Tobias Politek would have a good outing as well, although he dropped 3 places from his starting position. He still finished a very respectable 6th for Revolution Racing. Then it would be Boy Milan 7th in the first of the 2 TG cars. Then it would be Jason Muscat 8th in the Zederick. And again, as a title contender, Muscat would have targeted the top 5 this race potentially, but still 8th place was a respectable result. Edgar Reith would find himself 9th place in the second TG car, and then Dennis Jordan, who didn't actually qualify for this race, but came in after qualifying, started at the very back of the grid in 25th place, and ended 10th after climbing 15 places to get there. Now that is an impressive drive from Dennis Jordan. All things considered, not making qualifying, coming in and finishing 10th, getting himself right in the reverse grid potential place, and he knew that he needed a brilliant drive, and he did certainly get one. Antonio Haranovic would be 11th in the Drake car, then it would be Sandeep Chopra 12th for Hinds Motorsport, picking up 4 valuable points. Matt Strand would follow in 13th place, and then Tom van der Voort again climbing 2 positions. Good score from him, 16th to 14th and scoring 2 points for Drake Racing. And then finally, Erhan Jadowski getting on the scoring board, a single point for Satellite Racing by virtue of his 15th place finish. On to the non-scorers now. Edouard Battala, Racing Team shortened 16th place for the Spaniard. Then Rob Mason would be 17th for Epic. Then Gerard Battala in 18th in the second RTS car. Carlos Fernandez would finish 19th from Dawei Tapper in 20th place for Zederick Racing, down 10 places. So a bit of a nightmare race for the Dutchman. Mark Fuller would finish 21st for ST Racing. Then the second ST car of Dom Foster would be 22nd. The non-finishers would be Wesley Stefano in the Hinds car, Mike Quinn for Cosmo Psyche, and James Johnson, who retired after just 4 laps of the race. Johnson then really struggling this season, as we mentioned, maybe just hasn't fitted into this Super Cup car yet. Really struggling with these Formula Renaults, but hopefully he can get back into the groove, because Johnson, of course, reigning Formula Challenge champion. We don't like to see champions struggle, and Johnson just not having an easy time in Super Cup at the moment. On to race 2 now, and the reverse grid number drawn was number 8, meaning it would be none other than Zederick Racing's own Jason Muscat, who would take pole position for the sprint race. He would drive a fantastic race, but he would just lose out to Tobias Politek, who would win for Evolution Motorsports in a fantastic show of skill. Muscat second, and Alex Siebel, another great race for the German, a win and a third at Montreal, but made sure he would stay in the title hunt. 4th place would be taken by Boyer Milan for TG Racing, then Whoopke Hoekstra started 5th, ended 5th, holding station and getting 11 more points for Mesrick Racing. Dennis Jordan would climb 4 places from 10th to 6th in another great race from the German. Then Stefan Ruolt, again another good outing, lost a place but gained 9 points, 7th place for him and for Deltec Racing Team. Dino Paolini would finish 8th for Mesrick, Edgar Ruiz 9th, and Dawei Tapper making amends for his disastrous race 1 by finishing a solid 10th in race 2, which is where he qualified for the first race. Edouard Battala, another good race for him, 5 places gained, the RTS driver finishing 11th. And then Jeffrey Fournier, problems throughout the race for him, so an 8th place loss down to 12th, and in such a close championship, that would prove to be crucial for the Frenchman's lead in the Drivers' Championship. Matt Strand would finish 13th again, so 2 solid results for the American and for Satellite Racing. Then Erhan Jadowski finishing right behind him in 14th place, so Jadowski really starting to acclimatise to Super Cup now, perhaps maybe as James Johnson needs to. Jadowski then maybe establishing himself as a threat in Super Cup. Gerard Battala would round out the points finishers for Racing Team Stroton, gaining a point by finishing in 15th place. And well, he's not necessarily been the fastest driver this season, Gerard, but he has been consistent, and his continued run of point scoring continues with a 15th place here in Montreal. So definitely picking up the points. If he's not the fastest driver in the world, he certainly is a consistent one. Tom van der Voort, the first in the non-point scorers, in 16th place, followed by Rob Mason 17th for Epic Racing. Then the 2 STs, Dominic Foster beating Mark Fuller to 18th from 19th. Then the non-finishers, Wesley Stefano in the Hinds car, then James Johnson, then Sandeep Chopra in the second Hinds, Mike Quinn for Cosmo Psyche, Carlos Fernandez for Multiforce GP, and Antonio Haranovic for Drake Racing, retiring on just lap 2. So not as good a second race for Haranovic as the first, and not really fully making advantage of Montreal. So, on to the Drivers and Teams Championship standings now, and Jeffrey Fournier's slightly worse than expected results would cost him. Jason Muscat retaking the lead of the Drivers' Championship, 7 points ahead of Fournier, 188 to 181 points at the time of recording. Dino Paolini third on 175, and Alex Siebel, great races from him, would see him climb up to 171 points, just 4 down on Dino Paolini and just 17 down on Jason Muscat. Dennis Jordan running out the top 5 on 163 points with everything still to play for. He is a win away from leading the championship, assuming something would happen to the top 4. Tobias Politek 6th at the moment on 143 points, and then 2 points behind is Whoopke Hoekstra on 141 in 7th place in the Drivers' Championship. Stefan Ruolt a solid 8th at the moment on 140. Boyer Milan 9th on 120 points, and your top 10 rounded out by Antonio Haranovic in 10th on 105 points. Darwin Tapper 11th on 72. He's got the same points total as Edgar Reith behind him in 12th, but better results by Tapper this season put him ahead on countback. Matt Strand 13th, and then Edouard Batala 14th. 43 to 40 points is the gap there. Sandy Michoda is in 15th place on 37 points, then 2 points behind his Jared Batala in 16th. Again, it's very consistently scoring from Batala. All of the races he's finished so far this season have been point scorers except for one. Mike Quint in 17th place, even though he's only done half of the races so far this season on 21. Then Wright Kilk 8th on 20 points, Carlos Fernandez 19th on 18, and Rob Mason on the same points total behind, but again, superior results from Fernandez put him in 19th place. To the teams now, and it is Metric Racing leading the team's championship coming out of Montreal on 316 points, just 10 points ahead of Evolution Motorsports in second. Zedric Racing are third on 260, and Epic Racing fourth on 199. TG Racing on 192 points in fifth place, and it's Multiforce GP on 189 points in sixth. Maybe not as high as they wanted to be, considering how good Siebel's results have been this season, but still a respectable looking position in the chart for them. Deltec Racing Team are 7th on 157 points, and it's Drake Racing on 109 in 8th. Racing Team Shorten are 9th on 75, then Satellite Racing are in 10th place on 68. Hinds Motorsport are 11th on 41, Cosmo Psyche are on 28 in 12th, and ST Racing rounding out the field in 13th place with 18 points. So the clusters of battles we've been seeing are still going on, of course. We have the top three battling it out. We have Mesric, Evolution and Zedric, and then you got this whole battle for the midfield between Epic, TG, Multiforce and Deltixel going on the lower midfield between Drake, Racing Team Shorten and Satellite, and then Hinds Motorsport and Cosmo Psyche really starting to make inroads into that battle. ST Racing though still at the bottom of the table, and we mentioned, last time around, really not being their season. That just looks to be continuing. Foster and Fuller not seeming to get the results they need though. Fuller had a good Monaco, he wasn't able to follow it up in Montreal, and Quint, of course, having a bad weekend as well. Hopefully Cosmo Cycle will be able to bring 2 cars next time, because the gap to Hinds and Satellite is one which I'm sure they will be targeting. So that's it for this week's episode of the Supercup show, and of course in 2 weeks time we'll be coming at you once more with another episode as we review the action from the British Grand Prix. But until that time, I've been Josh Ranison, and from me and everyone here at SimNews.TV, we'll see you in 2 weeks time when we review the action of the Supercup British Grand Prix. Bye for now.